And in other campaign news, Bernie Sanders has won the endorsement of Minnesota Congressman Rick Nolan, who is a superdelegate. Nolan, who represents the 8th District, Congressional District, joins Minnesota Congressman Keith Ellison and Colin Peterson, who have also endorsed Sanders. That makes Minnesota the only state to have 3 members of Congress endorse the Vermont Center. Hillary Clinton, though, still leads in the Democrat delegate count, especially among so-called superdelegates who are usually elected officials or party elites. Some in the party are calling for rule change or reform. Joining us now, former Minneapolis Mayor RT Ryback is a vice chair of the Democratic National Committee and has also written a new memoir called Pothole Confidential. And Mayor RT Ryback is joining us now. Thank you so much for coming in.
I'm happy to be here.
All right, we're going to get to the book here in just a couple of seconds, but I think people want to know, who are you supporting in the presidential race?
I'm going to stay neutral until very, very late. I'm a vice chair of the party, and I just think this party process gets so convoluted for people and all that they need it to be fair, so party leaders should stay neutral. I'm not nuts about superdelegates and caucuses. You know, last night at the top you were talking about the convention in South Minneapolis. Ilhan Omar walked in, got about 56% of the vote, almost 60, but they sat there from 8 a.m. to 10 at night. This is crazy stuff. So I think we just have to open up politics. And part of what I try to do at the National Party, where I believe we don't control the whole thing, but try to keep it open and level so people can have their voices heard.
Are superdelegates fair? Is it democratic?
I think it's important to have some. You know, there are people who, it's not like elites, you know. Why am I a superdelegate? Because I do things like yesterday, drove down to La Crosse and back at the campaign for Russ Feingold. People who do all of that work to make sure we have a party need some part of the process. But, you know, I think you need them because of things like Donald Trump. If I had a nominee who I thought was dangerous for my party and for my country, I don't think I could vote for them. We don't have that. We have 2 great candidates as Democrats. I love them both.
All right. Let's talk about your book here, because it's a great memoir, not of your life, but also, you know, as your 12 years as mayor. One of the things that struck me, though, is you wrote about how you were one of the very first people, elected officials anywhere, to actually talk Barack Obama and encourage him to run for president. What was it about him back in 2007 that drew you to him?
I had been working for candidates almost my entire life, from a little kid, and I'd always wanted someone who I could just completely believe in, and that's what it was. And I felt he made smart decisions about the war and all that, but mostly I just believed him. So across the street at the Hilton, when I got a chance to meet him, I told him he should run for president, and I got in the draft Obama campaign, and I'm happy I did.
All right, and I think we're looking at a March early rally in 2008 with Barack Obama at the Target Center.
Yeah.
One of the things that you really write about, or a number of things you write about, is how much you really enjoyed being mayor. But you also clearly write very candidly about moments that pained you greatly. One of the decisions you made to not run again was the accent signage shooting. You said you just couldn't handle it anymore.
Yeah.
Where 5 people died.
Yeah. I tried to write something that wasn't a washed-up politician, but a washed-up journalist, which I'm both of. And so I just wanted to be honest. And I love the fact that I had the privilege, really, of showing up and helping people at many times. I think people need to understand it. It's very tough for me to kind of admit this, you know, because you don't like to show weakness. But the fact of the matter is, after a while, with that much death and that much immersion, it takes a toll. And yeah, when I stood there at Accent Printing and Reuven Rahavin and all these people I met had been slaughtered, yeah, it really was at that moment when I said, it's not the only reason I didn't run again, but it was a factor, you know, to get back from that for a bit. And so what I tried to do in the book was tell the tough things like that, the humorous things like, you know, well, there was a bunch of funny stuff in it, but mostly just what's real about the job and try to demystify politics.
All right, can you share a version of your story with Jesse Ventura? I know you can't go into exactly everything, but share that.
Oh yeah, it was just one of the chapters, Jesse Ventura and 2 drunk firefighters, is about this really bizarre day where New York sent some of the firefighters we helped in 9/11 out here. And they got a little bit tipsy on the plane, and we went to a basketball game with Jesse Ventura, and I think I'll let the rest be in the book. But it's that kind of thing. So it's these tragedies, this humor, but mostly it's just the real story.
All right, we are going to be doing a segment here in just a second with about the effort Rod Carew is making to spread awareness about heart disease after his heart attack. You are somebody who so many people considered so fit. I think you consider yourself fit. You had suffered really almost a life-ending heart attack right after you left office. How has that changed you?
Well, the last chapter is called The End, almost literally. And, you know, there was a moment where it was pretty tough. But because I was so healthy, because I stayed in shape, I was able to bounce back. I was only out of work for a week. And I was, you know, cross-country skiing a few weeks later, and I just finished a Lopet this week, and I'm going out for an intense bike ride this afternoon. So take good care of your heart, and it'll take care of you.
Okay, we're going to throw up a graphic about the book launch, and it's available Wednesday, folks. So
Yeah.
we have the preview copy here, but Wednesday at First Ave, doors open at 6. At 7 is the show. At 8:30, the book signing. Tickets are $10. The money will go to Step Up, an organization that you helped found that has provided jobs to thousands of low-income kids in Minneapolis.
Well, the polka band from Nye's there, too.
Polka band from Nye. I got to ask you, people write a book, and people say, well, he's got to be running for something. Are you?
Well, if I was writing this book to run for something, I sure as heck wouldn't put some of the things in that I did. I just wanted to do a real book.
All
so
right.
we'll see.
All right. Jesse Ventura and 2 drunk firefighters.
Yeah.
Okay.